This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Many fascinating items and concepts emerge from Parshas Vayeira, but there's one particular pasuk that stands out and has no parallel in all of Tanakh. As the wickedness and corruption of the city of Sodom was reaching all-time highs, Hashem decided the city must be destroyed. The Torah reveals to us at this point the following piece of information. Vashem Omar, God said, Hamechasa ani me Avraham, can I hide from Avraham? Asher ani oisa, that which I'm about to do. Can I hide from Avraham my plans that I'm going to destroy the city of Sodom? The Avraham hoya yiel goy gadol. Hashem says, I can't hide it from him. Avraham is going to be a great nation. He's such a great guy. Ki yadativ, I love him. No, I can't hide it from him. And the Torah goes on to tell us that Hashem reveals to Avraham his plans to destroy the city of Sodom. This is a phenomenon that appears in this week's Parsha that does not occur anywhere else in the Torah. Nowhere in the entire Tanakh is the Rebbeinu Shalom unsure whether to tell a Navi something or not. Hashem thinks, should I tell the Navi? Should I not tell the Navi? Alright, I'm going to tell him. We don't find anywhere that Hashem vacillates and goes back and forth. Should I tell the Navi? Do we find Hashem says, am I going to hide from Yeshaya what I'm about to do? Am I going to hide from Yirmiyah what I'm about to do? Am I going to hide from Elisha what I'm about to do? And yet, by Abraham, Hashem says, can I hide it? No, I'm going to tell him. Everywhere else, anytime Hashem has information to tell the Navi, He tells the Navi. Why, when it comes to Avram Avinu, does it seem like the Rebbeinu Shalom is vacillating back and forth, and ultimately Rebbeinu Shalom says, you know what? I'll tell him. I'm going to present to you the answer of Rav Moshe Seifer, Chassam Seifer, one of the all-time great leaders of the Jewish people. And Chassam Seifer writes this in his introduction to Yeridea called Pituchei Chaisam. Chassam Seifer was one of the busiest people who ever lived. He's someone who fulfilled three vital roles. Number one, he was a Rav of a big Kehillah. Number two, he was a Rosh Yeshiva. And number three, he responded to halachic inquiries that came from all over the world. And this answer that the Chassam Seifer gives is definitely Ra'oi Lamisha Imrai, very befitting of the one who said it. Says the Chassam Seifer, you know why Hashem is vacillating? Should I tell Avram? Should I not tell Avram? Because in reality, Avraham was not on the level to receive Nevuah. In order to receive prophecy from Hashem, in order to receive divine revelation, you have to be in the proper frame of mind. You have to go into seclusion. You need to meditate on the greatness of Hashem. You need to contemplate spiritual matters. Avraham was not able to do these things. Not because, says the Chassam Seifer, he was not great enough. Because he was too busy. Avraham was too busy to be able to reach the level of being a Navi. What was he busy with? Says the Chassam Seifer, he was busy influencing people. He was busy being Makarev people. He was busy teaching the world that there is one God. And then when you want to influence someone, you need to speak to them their language. You need to speak to them about what they're interested in. You have to speak to them on their wavelength. And therefore, Avraham had to lower himself and engage people in discussion, people who are Ovdei Avodah Zarah, people who are Megusham, and establish relationships with them. And ultimately, Avraham was able to establish relationships with tens of thousands of people and influence the masses. Avraham was not able to climb the summit of prophecy because he was too busy. But Avraham says to himself, to reach the level of Nevuah, does Hashem need me to be a Navi? Does Hashem need me to rise to the levels of spirituality to attain prophecy? What would I be contributing to God? There are already hundreds of thousands of perfect malachim in Shamayim. What, God needs another angel? Abraham said, and if I reach the level of Nevuah after 120, that will be the end of me. It's more important, said Abraham, to give up on my personal ruchnias, give up on my Nevuah, give up on my ability to receive prophecy, to be able to influence other people. Because I love Hashem so much, I will give up my personal development to influence the masses. So Hashem says, I have prophecy to tell Avraham, but I can't tell him because he's not a Navi. How can I tell him Nevuah? He didn't prepare, he didn't contemplate, he didn't meditate. I can't tell him. But then Hashem says to himself, but how can I not tell him? The reason he has not reached the level of Nevuah is because he loves me so much. He gave up from his personal development to be able to influence others. He has acted out of love for me. So even though technically speaking I can't tell him, but how could I not tell him? Because there's a great principle. And that is, when you do the right thing, you don't lose out. Nothing bad comes from doing what's right. And therefore Hashem says, Abraham gave up of himself. He's not on the level of Nevuah, says Achsam Sofer. And the Netziv in his commentary to Chumash explains this is what it means, that Sarah was greater than Abraham in Ruach HaKodesh. It means in this area of preparation to receive the word of Hashem, says Hashem, if he's given up of himself for me, he's not going to lose out. Because someone never loses out on giving up for the sake of Hashem. No, in general, people say to themselves, there are a lot of mitzvos I would like to do. Like to come to minyan, like to come to a mincha, a mariv. But I have a job, I have customers, I need time to work, to support my family. As they say, time is money. If I go to minyan, I will lose money. And you have to realize what we learned from Avraham Avinu is when you do the right thing, you don't lose out. Even if it looks like by learning, people say, I would love to come to a shiur, I would love to learn, but I lose out. I'm going to lose parnasa. We learn from Avraham Avinu that you don't lose out by doing mitzvos. If it seems like you're losing time, God will give you the money elsewhere. Makes life much easier. You get to work less and make the same amount of money. Whatever amount of time a Jew needs to learn every day, needs to daven every day, and if it comes off time of hishtadlus, of work, you make the money anyway. People say, I would love to give tzedakah, but if I give tzedakah, I'm going to lose out. I won't be able to pay the bills. No! When you give tzedakah, when you do the mitzvah, when you give maser, you don't lose out. Chazal say, the Medrash says, Mishlei, on the pasuk, Kiner mitzvah, the Torah says in Shemois Rabbah, Parsha Lamed Vav, that Shlomo HaMelech compares a mitzvah to an air. Says a Medrash, just like from one candle, you could use it to light 1,000 candles and 1,000 bonfires, and the original candle is still there, so too when it comes to any mitzvah. No matter how much you give up of yourself to do a mitzvah, no matter how much money, no matter how much time, nothing is lost, nothing is taken away, no loss is ever incurred by doing a mitzvah. Maharal of Prague was a young man, and he was engaged to marry the daughter of a Oisher. The name of this girl, her name was Peril, and she was the daughter of an exceptionally wealthy man named Reb Shmuel. And Reb Shmuel's wealth would enable his future son-in-law to devote himself completely and totally to learning. Reb Shmuel fell on hard times. He lost all of his money. He sends word to the Maharal of Prague that he has to renege on his commitment. He will not be able to fulfill his commitment. And he would therefore understand if Maharal wanted to break off the shidduch. Maharil felt that once he committed himself to this girl, it would not be moral for him to break the shidduch. And even though the prospective father-in-law would not be able to keep his part of the agreement, nevertheless, the Maharil committed himself to the marriage. Meanwhile, Peril, the girl, was devastated that here her father committed to the chassan and he's not able to keep his end of the deal. And she can't even support herself. She opens a small bakery to support her own family. She would bake 1 loaf of bread a day, and from that loaf she would sell it and bring a meager income to her family. One day a soldier is passing by. The soldier is starving. He sticks out his sword into the loaf of bread and is about to ride away, but Peril starts crying, holds on to the leg of the horse. He says, "Please, this is my only ability to make parnasa for the day. Please, this is my only opportunity to support my family." The soldier says, "Look, I haven't eaten for 3 days. I'm starving. This is what we soldiers do." But you know what? Harachmanas on you. He throws off the pillow of the saddle of the donkey. He says, "Take it in exchange for the loaf," and he rides away. What's she going to do with a pillow of a saddle? Nothing. A few days later, she feels the pillow, feels very heavy. She opens it up. There are gold coins inside. She hit the jackpot. She shows her father. Her father is able to regain his wealth. He sends word to the Maharil that the commitment is back on. Maharil said he would have never broke it. Once he committed, he committed. Maharil says, when you agree to do the right thing, for honesty, for a mitzvah, you never lose out. And this is the yesod, this is the principle we learn from Avram Avinu. He wasn't on the level of Nebuah, but he did it because he gave up of himself for the love of Hashem to be able to influence other people. And the Rebbeinu Shalom said, Avraham Avinu, when you give up for a mitzvah, when you give up to do the right thing, one never loses out by doing a mitzvah. Agun.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.